200 would have been cheap. You go to this.
Memory lane, yeah, those are fun.
Oh, I was about to say.
Oh, no, this is baseball season.
You just did every paper.
Football season?
How long will this take? Football, baseball, it's all ball.
Nothing this weekend. Wait, no, I've got one. Is there an air show? Probably not. Oh, wow. Giving free flights? Like,
He's on us.
who's driving? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, wow. That is pretty cool. Yeah, I'm like, who's driving? You know, who's flying? I'm like, yeah, that too. And an Eagle Scout. That sounds good.
All right, for the meeting at 6 o'clock, we will open this meeting for the workshop portion. There's only a couple of items that we can discuss, but if there's something else, Greg, we can do this as well. The three main items on the workshop agenda for today is, if you want to go over their sign presentation or anything from the prior two meetings, if you have any questions over those, concerns, and then the contract for the construction of the John Bowden Parkway. This will be for the second phase, so are there any of those items that you would like to discuss as part of this workshop?
We can also discuss the two ordinances.
Okay.
We can't discuss the zoning case.
Okay.
Since the zoning case is a due process, but even though the ordinances are for public hearing, you can ask questions, we can discuss those also, questions on those.
One question I had is regarding the contract for the construction of John Bowden Parkway. I was absent last meeting because my father-in-law passed away and we had his visitation. And somebody was bothering me.
Oh.
I'm kidding.
It's like, I mean, it's
Thank you,
like-
thank you, Jimmy. You're my buddy. I just give him a hard time. You coming or not? I went, no. Got a family thing. But, you know, the contract for construction on John Bowden would be the thing that I would like to talk about. Maybe to hear about what was discussed last time, where we are
But
on.
we didn't discuss.
We didn't discuss it?
No.
Oh,
This is just a work, this is just a
Be a
work.
good time to discuss.
all right.
Yeah.
I think 1 and 2 are self-explanatory, but
Yeah.
3 is only one, and, you know, we've talked a lot about items 9 and 10 on the regular meeting agenda. So I don't have any questions on 9 or 10, but, is it appropriate to get a staff update on what number 3 is? Oh, I'm talking about the workshop.
Contract for construction of John Bowden Parkway.
Or do we just?
Where are we on that? Can we ask?
So
I guess we can.
it is on the agenda to award the bid,
Oh.
to award the contract.
All right.
We
So
went out for bid, and we had 3 bidders.
which one do you recommend?
We're recommending H&B Contractors.
Okay.
So this was not bid as a low bid project, this was bid as a sealed competitive proposal. We did outline specific criteria that would be considered in the evaluation. Vincent, you can join us. You probably-
Yeah, Mr. Henson.
If I understand
Maybe
the,
you get that.
Come rescue Craig.
the winning bid,
Wait, early.
Craig, if I understand the winning bid was below the probable cost estimate?
Yes, that's correct. All of the bids were below the, probable cost.
How does that ever
I
happen?
don't know, I feel like we're gonna jinx it by talking about it out loud.
It's kind of like Green Drive, they came in, we're all shocked about that.
Yeah, well, and I think what's happening is we're
I
starting
still
to
think
see
you should say it out loud. Oof.
some of the costs post-COVID starting to find their appropriate level. So that's encouraging.
Fine.
But, yeah. Yeah, so the proposals were basically based on cost of the project, the ability to meet the proposed budget and time for construction, the experience, past performance of the offer, the experience qualifications of the superintendent, three of us, our scores were a little different, but all three of us ranked them the same way.
Once the contract is awarded, is that price locked in?
Yes.
With the
Yeah, I mean, there is a contingency.
strike and steel.
Yes.
There is a contingency as part of it, yes, sir.
Yeah, there is a contingency built into it, so, you know, that's up to whether or not we need to spend it. That's up to us if we spend it.
Well, I'm just mentioning that because of the woodworkers strike. And I don't know if steel, the prices, the shortage of stuff coming in through our ports.
It's like, I mean, there's always the possibility of if it's, force majeure, there's wording language that allow for this. But they will get up and running.
After we pass it, assuming we do, then it's kind of a done deal with HEB. They say, okay, we're gonna do this job, so basically it starts.
Yeah, we'll send them a notice of award, set up a pre-construction meeting, do a notice to proceed and notice start.
What's the tentative start date?
At the pre-construction meeting, I said tomorrow.
I can see it in your eyes.
We do this project, one of the reasons we did this project the way we did is this project is tied to the percentage for the Walmart operation facility. So we have to be at substantial completion by March 12th, is it, or March 9th? One of those, sometimes in March, we have to be at substantial completion. We have to be at final completion by June.
Fine.
And so if we don't, there are certain things in those agreements for Walmart to take over the project. We then have to pay for it, plus pay them a 15% penalty on top of it.
Tomorrow sounds good.
So, we definitely, it's not, I'm not concerned about the deadline. We have plenty of time. It's an open field. We're not having to reroute traffic or do those kind of things. So, but we do want to make sure that it gets going and make sure that the contractor has the capability, the resources and equipment.
How long is it expected to take? They give you a timeline?
You know, I don't, to be honest with you. I think it was, I believe it was 4 months for substantial. Because I'm thinking, because like Craig mentioned, usually we'll say it's about 30 days for them to actually start construction from the time council approves. So just say it would be November, well then to meet that March deadline, it would be 4 months, basically from November till the first of.
And you're aware of our deadline, and you're in the getting it done before that deadline?
Yes, sir.
We have in the contract, there's liquidated damages, $1,000 a day.
$1,000 a day.
For each day they go over.
I'm gonna see Craig driving by.
Which should more than make up for any penalties we have with Walmart, so get that
I
third.
hope there's no penalty.
Yeah, me
Yeah,
too.
we're so worst case scenario right now. Yeah.
Hope for the best, expect the worst. No.
Yeah.
I mean, the first phase, H&K did that project, but it was 3 months.
Yeah.
They had the roadway done up to the TxDOT right of way. Now, once we got to the TxDOT right of way, that's a whole different world. Throw the big anchor out the side, everything drags in to the crawl. But the rest of it was pretty well finished.
Is this a CMAR contract or what type of contract? These methods, like a construction manager at risk contract?
No.
What
You typically can't do construction for these type of projects. So those are all for facilities.
how does that work? I know you said there's liquidated damages and fines for pollution, but how does that compare to like a CMAR? Like, construction manager at risk, do not exceed amount, can't go beyond that.
Well, so the contract would be for the amount that y'all approve, and then obviously there's, I think it's local government code, but you can't, you can make an adjustment to the contract up to 25% of whatever the original contract amount
Who can
is.
make an adjustment up to 20?
Council.
Council.
Yes, it would have, council approval would be, yeah, council would have to approve a change order.
But we typically, since I've been here, we've not done a change order to increase the contract unless we've added additional work to the contract.
And we don't foresee that because it's pretty cut and dry on what Walmart's requiring, and they've had it, I'm sure.
Well, we have the whole road is designed.
Engineered,
Everything's
so-
designed, everything's ready to go.
You may wanna change the
shouldn't be.
A lot of things
It's
are
crazy.
that's fine.
Mhm.
No, we had issues with the lights
we had
first.
some trouble with the lights.
We
Oh,
had
that's
those-
right,
we
yes,
have
yes,
all the
yes,
light
PTSD,
fixture
that's right.
stuff working out. And they don't have to put in the power controller or anything, they can come off the existing controller, so it's just the poles and the wires, all we gotta run.
But to answer your question, Jimmy, I mean, we at Walker Partners have a standard agreement that we use. It's, from the EJCDC, which is the Engineers Joint Council, something, whatever the last two acronyms stand for.
Element for
Something. And so, but that's what we typically use, and again, all that's kind of spelled out within that agreement, and then supplemental to the agreement is, we have a set of general conditions. It's the same thing, a lot of that, where he was talking about the force majeure, all that's laid out in those general conditions. All that has been reviewed by our attorney and approved, for our use. Again, it's kind of, the base started from the from an EJCDC document, and then we provided to our attorney who reviewed it, and we made some edits and stuff to it whenever we originally started using it. But it's what we use on pretty much every single contract.
I would say that's similar to what we
Yeah,
use.
this contract for the construction, as you know,
Correct.
is how we bid. We do not bid it as a. We've started moving more away from just the low bid.
No, we hired our standards a bit.
We've had a few issues with some of the other projects, so we're trying to put more into, taking more of a best value approach instead of just a lowest price approach, because sometimes lowest price is the best value. We learned about a couple street projects back, some issues we had, so we did want to put in provisions, like a certain percentage of the contract has to be self-performed, so we don't, so we don't get a construction manager who comes in and everything is gonna be subs, and the subs are subject to change from what the original bid is and everything, so.
And H&B's a local company, so they have their subs.
I think these are all local.
They're sitting all over the walls.
They're all local.
And just so you're aware, there are a couple of representatives from one of the bidders that are here tonight, so I think they've asked to speak whenever it comes up on the
One of the other
agenda.
bidders.
Yes, sir.
But, yeah, how it differs, a construction manager at risk, you're hiring a person to design it and everything. So you kind of throw that not to exceed amount in there because you don't have design. This is already designed. Everything is ready to go. It's just, so we've gone through they did their, opinion of probable cost based off the design and off of the costs of previous contracts. This works on this.
That answers the question, that clears it up. Okay. Any other items?
I did want to just bring your attention to one of the ordinances, that I don't think we've had it on the previous. That is the, second ordinance that you're gonna be approving, the third, I guess,
Which,
the second ordinance, the first one after the zone. That's the subdivision ordinance, I believe.
Yes.
So, that one we haven't frequently discussed, so the legislature last session changed, the requirements for plating. As you know, traditionally, plat approvals had to go to the P and Z and ask of the city council, we have the 30-day shot clock. And, once P and Z approves, it's gotta go to council within 30 days. But I think one of the things the legislature recognized, and you can come join us, this is your deal, but one of these legislatures recognize, and I've asked this question for 25 years now, is state law says that if a plat meets the state law requirements and your subdivision ordinance requirements, you have to approve it. It's just something you have to, you can't subjectively deny it. But yet we put them on agendas, we have meetings, and we don't do public hearings, but we send, we have people come in and they say, we don't want this next to us or whatever, and then we have to totally ignore what they said because it meets all the law requirements we have to approve. So what the legislature did was they gave the cities the option that we can make more of this administrative. So instead of having to go to P and Z and then council and adding back 45 to 60 days to the process, if it meets all the requirements, the law and everything, staff can approve. So that's what these changes do, is they incorporate those changes in the state law into our.
They did something productive and seems helpful.
So, there are.
well, we
there's
couldn't
still some-
change it anyway. So in other words, it wouldn't be something that needs to come before us, because if it meets them, there's
Well-
nothing we can do to stop it or change it, correct?
Right, yeah, yeah, it means
So
if
it's
the
like
plat
skipping
meets
an
the
unnecessary-
requirements of the plat meets the state law requirements and whatever the city ordinance requirements are.
I would just be
Yeah.
concerned as council, and I don't suspect anybody of anything, but that we wouldn't be apprised of things maybe we should be apprised of. So this averts that possibility, I guess.
I think there,
Thinking out
I
loud.
think that there could be the possibility of an approval or a disapproval happening, and we not know about it after, told that to staff, and that may have citizens upset, meaning now they go through that process and let's see, walking carefully, the good avoid process will be taken out of this. You know, you won't have that really subjective, oh, no, I know that guy's uncle, so you have to prove it. That takes that out of it. So your ordinance is staying as your ordinance, so. But you won't know about that until somebody pissed off and called and fills on them.
Well, we
Yeah.
we typically, I typically
Sure.
try to keep you on posted
Well,
of
yeah,
what's
yeah,
going on
yeah.
as far as development.
Wasn't trying to say that you wouldn't, but you're gonna hear it first. As soon as that is denied, you're gonna hear it in the public comment.
Well, I mean, typically, if it's denied because
It's
something
not
doesn't meet
meeting
the ordinance, they just gotta go back and fix it and resubmit. It's never a case of it's denied and you
Just
can't
because we
do it.
didn't like you.
The only reason it's denied is because it doesn't meet the ordinance requirements. And that's what we do now. It goes to, so the process now is it goes to, P and Z. Typically, if there's something in there that doesn't meet the requirements, what we do is we, P and Z will say it's gotta satisfy all the staff comments. And then they recommend approval, and then we bring it to you, you are making a motion that we recommend approval with the condition that all the staff comments are met.
And to be clear, I'm for that. I think we had discussed it, maybe it was just in a one-off conversation, but
I mean, we already do it with minor plats and things like that, this just applies it to more different, now, there's still certain plats we'll still have to go down.
Right, some of the replats will still have to go before, will still have to be considered by an approval of body, not administrative. And then some of the subdivision variances from the ordinance, from the subdivision ordinance, would have to be considered by an approval body.
in vacating plats,
It'd be administrative.
administrative,
And when did the legislature push this through?
They did this in 23. This happened last, I think went in effect in September or January.
September 1st.
September
I think
1st
just
last
as a
year.
matter of principle, I'd like to know.
So for a year.
Being on the council, but I mean, I guess you could say it's not of our concern to some degree, but I'd still like to.
Well, I mean, we still
be apprised.
try to keep you informed of all the stuff like that that's happening.
I know.
If there's a new
Just as a
development,
general rule.
I mean, right now, we don't tell you about every single lot
No.
where someone comes in, but
Yeah.
constantly.
Unnecessary.
Sure. And there's no requirement in state law that council has to approve a plat. There are a lot of cities that only planning and zoning commission. My last city only planning and zoning commission.
Elgin was like that too, planning and zoning commission at all, that council was appeals authority.
And I get your point too, Jimmy, about doing away with the, political,
Well, this
and,
is,
so to
and
speak.
it takes some red tape out of it. I mean, going to P and Z and then going to council.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
It
delay in
takes
that
that
is.
time out of that,
Exactly.
but and it streamlines meetings, so it
Yeah.
is efficient. So I agree that, there is an intended consequence that you might feel
Yeah.
at some point with somebody.
Being fairly new on the council, I'm glad to have these explanations. Thanks.
yeah, but like I said, anything of any consequence, you're gonna know about it before you, the plat's even approved, if we have a, multi-lot subdivision or new
Yeah,
commercial
something big.
development or something coming in. Typically include all that information.
Friday emails.
Email us, so we're not gonna stop that. And some of this came about, so, 21 when they did the shot clock, where they threw in.
19.
19, they tightened the shot clock, and they also added to it construction plans and everything. So construction plans had to go to P and Z and be approved, just like the plat. And I guess everybody thought, that's gonna speed everything up, it's slower than that. Because you added all this extra stuff. So the developer developers will like it, cause, you know, they always come in and say, how long does it take to go back? It's like, well, depending on what day you submit it, you know,
Oh, we just
anywhere
have
from
meetings.
45 to 60 days.
Yeah, that's
If
crazy.
everything is correct. If not, you have to send it back for you to update it or correct it, resubmit it, it could be less than 80, 90, 120 days. And it could still take them a while, cause they have to get it right before it gets approved.
Significant delays, I can see how that would be, so, yeah, it's good.
So that's what that ordinance says. If there's nothing else, we can, over 6 or 6:30.
Sounds good.
commodity, something would have been known as very.
People kind
No.
of don't, I mean, that's not a pleasant
Yeah.
test to go through, but they
You
would
don't.
start talking to therapy. So,
You know what they should do? Give us the mics, a clip on your shirt or something.
I didn't. How was it? Oh, it's true. Nothing makes sense.
that never happens.
Tender bio. Swipe.
With it being 6:30, we will call this meeting to order. If y'all wouldn't mind rising for the invocation, and then after the invocation, remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us pray. God of all nations, we thank you today for our life, our health, our material blessings, and for the citizens who live and work in this community, and especially for this town that we call Robinson. And we acknowledge that everything comes from you. We also thank you for our government and the laws enacted to protect its citizens and help us to enjoy the freedoms that you have so graciously given. Especially during this election season, we ask that civility and respect would reign throughout our country, and that wise, discerning leaders would be chosen to represent and govern. Be with the mayor, the council members, the city staff, the police, and the fire departments, and all who give their time serving this community. As the people's servants, give them discernment to know the best course of action and the courage to do what is best for the people living here. In particular, for this assembled council today, we especially pray for wisdom to govern, a clear understanding of the true needs of the people of Robinson, knowledge to see what is best, and the courage to act on it, and a willingness to work together even when there is honest disagreement, and personal peace for each one of them in their lives, and joy in their tasks. We ask also for protection for each council member and their families as they carry out their public servant duties. We pray for the agenda set before them. Help them to know what would please you and what would benefit those who live and work in our community. We commend this time to you. We thank you for hearing and answering our prayer. And it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Good. Roll call.
Rogers?
Here.
George?
Here.
Eckerly? Steiner?
Here.
McLean?
Here.
Maker?
Here.
Hurst?
Here.
Okay. Moving on to agenda item number 5. This will be for citizen comments. I will say, Mr. Holy, we're going to wait to do yours when we get to the actual agenda item, if that's okay with you. Okay. So, Ms. Vaughn.
Good evening, City Council, City Manager. I bring greetings from the Greater Robinson Chamber of Commerce, and as always, I'd like to bring you the announcements of what we have upcoming and invite you all to be a part of those activities. First, our next board meeting will be next Wednesday, October the 9th at noon, right here in council room. And that's an open meeting, and everyone is welcome to attend and be recognized at that meeting. Also, Brookshires is having a grand reopening. They've done some remodeling and stuff, and they're ready to have a grand reopening at their store. And that is gonna be on October the 10th at 11 a.m. So, and following, it'll take a little bit, but they're gonna do a ribbon cutting during that time, and they'd like to invite the community, city leaders, and all the like to appear for that event. On October the 11th, the very next day, the chamber will will be participating in a ribbon cutting and business after hours for Element Waco, which is the hotel that's just off of the Circle on 77. They have joined the chamber and they are going to have a ribbon cutting and a business after hours. So you're invited to that as well. Halloween in the Park on October the 26th. The Robinson Chamber, the City of Robinson, and the Robinson Area Lions Club have joined together to have Halloween in the Park on October the 26th at Peblo Park. I believe that will be starting at 5 o'clock. But anybody that wants to participate, have a booth, hand out candy, whatever, is welcome to do so. I recommend if you have questions that you contact Jamie Walter at the police, the city, because she's the one that has all the information with that. Other than that, we have the Christmas parade coming up on December the 5th. That's a Thursday night at 6 o'clock. The registration for floats in that event will begin on November the 1st, and those can be found on the city's website. The theme this year will be classic Christmas movies. So anything that's a classic Christmas movie to you can be used as the theme for your float. And we welcome participation for that. We do have 2 of our sponsorships filled, but we are looking for a sponsor for insurance. We have to have insurance for our parade, so we're looking for a sponsor for that. So if you're interested or know anybody that is interested to be able to get your name out there, then we would love to have you as a sponsor for our insurance for our Christmas parade. I would like to do a shout out very quickly to McCoy's. McCoy's Building Supplies provided wood for reindeer this year, delivered it, all of it at no charge to us. So they will be our reindeer roundup sponsor this year.
Can I ask you a question, Ms. Vaughn? What time is the Brookshire's grand opening again?
11 o'clock.
11 o'clock, thank you.
Yes.
Okay. If there are no other citizen comments, then we will move into our presentation portion of the meeting. Craig, this was in regards to a signed presentation to the City of Robinson from Butch Mugavere.
Yeah, is Mr. Mugavere here? Is that him back there in the dark? There he is.
Come on up.
Yes, he has approached the city about wanting to do something about the sign, so I think we have the photos in the packet, or?
I don't know what they brought you already. I'm gonna draw maybe 7 or 8 of these. You brought me one. Did she already send you pictures?
Yes.
Yeah, there it is.
Okay.
I think there's 2 different ones. There's that one, and then.
Y'all can keep this one. I'll leave. It's got some other options. What it is, we, lived in Robinson, I guess 30 years now. We have the rock business down on the Circle, and we've now just under 200 locations in 4 countries. So we bring people to Waco, and we bring them down to Robinson to show them some of the rocks we've donated here, and we kind of have to pass that sign.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other cities that have them, and they look really good. So Bert's done a lot, Bert's a good friend, and he's done a lot of stuff with us, and we appreciate, the city. So we'd like to donate a little bit nicer than the one that's there now. And it won't cost you anything, and just, I'm not sure if this is something you have to vote on or not. I hope you want it, but anyway, I guess going through the motions maybe, and see if that's something you all want to do.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Also, there's one, about everyone that's in Robinson right now is donated. Y'all are allowed to buy rocks, just so you, in case you didn't know that.
Oh, okay.
You won't buy one. But there's one we put at the police department, and there's another sign beside it that looks not as good, so we'd like to sort of replace that one too while we're there, just to make a match. No charge, no.
The one at the Little League looks great too.
Yeah, that's right.
There you go. Yeah,
We're on the second round now with
Yeah,
the kids.
yeah,
So I
yep.
go there now with the grandkids, so I
Yep.
have seen that one. So
Do
anyway.
you still do the border magic, or is that, might come see about that?
Okay, all right. So anyway, the one thing with the sign that's there now, it's about 3 inches off level. So we'll have to do a little bit of work to make that right. It really doesn't matter. I just want to let you know that will be being done, so just to get it level again.
Okay.
It's probably been there a while,
Sure, yeah.
so anyway. Just did a new one for Bert down there at the Sunville, if you've seen that one.
Yeah.
I forgot what it says, but
If
it's
it-
one here we really want to make nice. And
Yeah.
we can do different ways. We can pick the pedestals and then put it up there where it's a little bit higher, or we can just do one rock. Y'all seen a lot of them around town, so if there's something you've seen that you like better, I don't really care what it is. I just wanted something that looks nice, and when we bring people here, they see it.
Sure.
You know, so that's good.
Yeah.
So if it's something council's comfortable with, what we can do is we can work with Mr. Mogavera to do things. One thing came up in our staff meeting today, we need to reach out to TechStop, because that is TechStop right away. Just make sure, I don't know there'd be an issue, there's already a big stone wall there anyway, but we just need
have been
to,
approved from San Antonio to Dallas for TechStop.
Yeah.
We're gonna fix and start doing sound barrier walls, stuff like that.
yeah.
And so
Yeah, I don't
know if
think
that
it'd be,
encompasses this
I just
or
don't
not.
want to do it and then TechStop in the
No,
middle
no.
of it come out and say, stop what you're doing.
I started building a mailbox outside my house one time, and somebody stopped and said I couldn't do that, and I was like, well, you're nuts, I can build a mailbox. And
Yeah.
Turns out they were right.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
TechStop's really good about showing up and shutting things down, so
Yeah,
we want to
so-
just get their blessing ahead of time, but, yeah, we can do that and work with him, and then,
Just make sure everything's right, and if it is, that's fine.
yeah.
Also, on another note, nothing to do with this, but I've heard some talk about maybe a splash park coming in at some point. I'd like if it does, just to consider, we do a lot of the stuff in those splash parks, our stuff is completely waterproof. We also do a lot of the turf and stuff like that through our company, so just, if it should come up, I don't know if it will, I wouldn't mind donating some, probably, maybe charging for some, but I'd like to have one here too, I've got grandkids here.
Yeah. What kind of turf do you guys do?
Everything.
Like rubber turfs?
I have a flooring store, a lot of people want to know it.
Yeah, no.
I do the middle school over here, but it's just more for people that know us. I do
Yeah.
a remodeling company, we do quite a bit of things, but most of it's all just referrals.
Yeah, very cool.
If needed, we do a lot of different things. But the turf, it's pretty expensive on this part.
Yes, yeah.
But all the benches, different things like that, we can do for probably 20 cents on the dollar that you're gonna get charged. So
We
try to
appreciate that.
donate as much as I can.
Yeah, appreciate that a lot.
Not even if it's come to fruition or not, just heard some talk about it, I'm not even sure.
The chatter was true.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know that nobody has asked me my opinion, but here it is anyway.
Here we go.
I like the bigger one, not the non-pedestal one.
Yeah.
You know, it is as big of a, welcome as lettering as we
It's
could
more
get.
bold, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Most people, we're fixing to do 7 of them Crockett, and they pick the pedestals, and I tried everything, and talked them out of it, and they just want them.
Yeah.
I'll second the non-pedals.
I do, I like it.
I know nobody asked me, but.
Yeah, well, they didn't me either, but.
Yeah, we,
So I don't think there's any objections up here, so.
no.
All right.
I'm good.
Yeah, we'll get
If
with
somebody
you.
holler at me, and
We'll
we'll,
re, we'll reach out to, TechStop, if I
yeah,
can make a
just
note,
sure it's okay.
and just make sure there's not
And I don't remember the
not
people
anything we
from-
have to do with them, so.
It was somebody from San Antonio that came by, and I don't even remember what it was for, it's been a year. We haven't started projects, but they said, yeah, but we have no paperwork or anything that says any of that. Just they
Yeah.
said They would like to see it and start doing it, but I have nothing to prove any of it. But
Yeah,
they
yeah.
did say, from San Antonio to Dallas, we were good to go. We were gonna put a big, one on the interstate for Arena. And, there was some type of funding that fell through on that, I don't know what it was, but anyway, we didn't do it, but we were approved, I just don't know how.
The issue with TxDOT is it's in their right of way, so they always want to approve or disapprove where it's at, where it's located.
We just did 2 big ones in Belton, and they were in more, I guess, an area of concern than this one, but I don't know how it works, I don't know.
Yeah.
the deals on that.
Yeah, it's just being there, it's their right of, as
Yeah,
Mr. Burt said, it's their right of way, and they like to know what we're doing in their right of way, so we'll get there.
I don't wanna do it and then have it taken down.
They have provisions to allow
put it
for
in my
these
front
kind of
yard.
signs in their right of way.
I had to move a fence one time in the right of way, down here in fact, that I thought this is well out of the right of way. No, Mr. Birch, we need you to do this. I'm like, okay.
We have
Ask
setback
first.
issues that we
Yeah.
had dealt
They
with
just
that
show up.
We just thought, what it was, there's one already there, so you put the new one.
Yeah.
Well, that was grandfathered in, the new one, you should have done your homework, which we didn't, so we learned the hard way, so. Do your due diligence and let me know what we can do, and then we'll just get together on which one you like.
We sure do appreciate
Yeah,
it.
Oh, I
big time,
appreciate it.
seriously.
Thank you.
I've had a lot of years here, so appreciate y'all.
Thank
Yo, here's one.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, yeah, we'll pass that around.
Just some other
Thank you,
colors and
Butch.
stuff, so. I appreciate y'all.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, thanks a lot.
You too.
14-foot wide, 12 Okay, we will move to our regular agenda item now.
So number 7, this is to approve the minutes from our September 3rd City Council workshop and regular meeting. Did everyone have a chance to look through those minutes? Any discussions, any concerns?
There's a typo, it's supposed to be September 17th.
September 17th, okay.
Whatever.
You know what, and I didn't catch that either because I'm still used to just the first of the month meeting, so.
The minutes
Okay.
say 17th.
So this will be for the approval of minutes for September 17th, 2024 workshop and regular meeting. Any questions, any motions?
I make a motion to approve the minutes of the September 17th, 2024 City Council Workshop and Regular Meeting.
Second is motion.
Okay, so we do have an approval for that September 17th workshop and regular meeting for the approving the minutes. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Moving to agenda item number 8. This is a public hearing. This is to conduct a public hearing and possible action on ordinance 2024-027 and ordinance 2024-028. This is for changing the land use from commercial to low-density residential zoning, low-density residential and zoning from light commercial C1 district to HUD code manufactured housing district on .53 acres located at 4178 South Old Robinson Road. This is within the Glendo I acres, .53. I will open the public hearing at 6:45, but Mr. Harrell, I'll let you take on with the preface.
The applicant cannot be here. We initially scheduled these things, moving through as quickly as we can, and we didn't know at the time that the applicant cannot be here for tonight's meeting, so we would like to ask the council to delay this item until the 15th of October, your next meeting. So if you so desire that, opening the public hearing and hearing anybody that's here to speak on it and leaving it open would be the viable way to do that, should you so feel it.
Okay, I appreciate that. Okay, so with this being a public hearing, is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on behalf of this or against this agenda item? Okay. With there, no,
Leave
okay,
it
so I'm
open.
gonna leave it open and then we will reconvene on this item on the next agenda item,
Yeah.
on the next council meeting.
Which would be October.
15th? Yeah,
Do we-
October 15th.
Should we do a motion and a vote to continue the item?
I make a motion that we extend it
Do we need to?
as was requested by David.
Okay, I don't think we need to,
Can we
so
do-
we'll just,
He'd asked.
Yeah, no, I was asking Misty.
You just table it.
We can just continue it, because we're not tabling it, we're continuing it, so, okay.
okay.
So we have to continue it to a date certain. So what's the next? Let's see, October 15th? 15th, so yeah, you just have to say we're continuing. to
Okay.
October 15th.
So for this item, we will continue this discussion at the October 15th council meeting. Okay. Moving to agenda item number 9, this will be another public hearing. This is to conduct a public hearing and consider impossible action on ordinance 2024-029. This is amending ordinance 2013-005. This is the Appendix B subdivisions, Part 1 general provisions and Part 3 general regulations, and Part 7 compliance with ordinance and providing a savings clause and finding and determining that the meeting at which the ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. Mr. Harrell?
Yes. This was touched upon in the workshop session, so I'm not gonna add too much more to this. These are subdivision changes to make all of our processes, or most of them, almost all of them, administrative with the exception of subdivision variances and replats that are in residential zoning and have a single family and or duplex on them. The reason we cannot make those administrative is state law requires us to take them to an approval authority. That's either you or the Planning and Zoning Commission. In this case, the Planning and Zoning Commission would be the approval authority. The council would become an appeals authority for all items that go to commission and are administrative. The ordinance is there, the changes are there. I'm here for any questions you may have. Thank you.
Okay. I will open this public hearing at 6:48. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this topic, for or against? Okay, with none, I will close the public hearing at 6:48 and open it up to the council. Mr. Rogers, do you have any?
Yeah, actually, David, I did have a couple. So you mentioned just now about the council would be the, how did you say it? Appeals group. So most of these will then go to staff approval. Outside of that, there were a few variances you said then would be P and Z only for approval.
Correct.
And
So-
then we would then be in appeals, so.
Correct. So if anybody was dissatisfied with any decision we made, you would become appeals authority. You are now for minor plats and amending plats, because those are administrative in nature, so this expands your role in regards to that.
Understood. Just wanted to make sure that I heard it and make sure everybody else heard it.
Yep.
And that's all the questions I had, so.
Mr. Master George?
None?
Mr. Baker? I have none.
None.
Okay, now we'll remind everyone for this agenda item, there are recommended motions attached to this agenda item, so whichever motion one of y'all feel to throw out there, please make sure you read the recommended motion.
I'll make a motion to enact an ordinance amending Appendix B subdivisions, Part 1 general provisions, and Part 3 general regulations, and Part 7 compliance with ordinance, and providing a savings clause, and determining that the meeting at which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law.
Second.
Okay. So do we have a motion to approve this ordinance? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Moving on to agenda item number 10. This is a public hearing to consider and potential or possible action on ordinance 2024-030. And this would be, this would add Appendix A for the zoning, Article 1, general provisions, sections 1.9 for fees, amending Chapter 5, building and building regulations, Article 3, building permits, section 5-57 fees, also amending Chapter 19 for the utilities, Article 2, water services, section 19-27, water service connections, amending Appendix C, master fee schedule of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Robinson, Texas, by providing for modernization of the fee schedule and fee adjustments, repealing ordinances or parts of ordinances in direct conflict, providing an effective date, and open meetings declaration. Mr. Harrell.
This design has been before you in workshop mode for several months now. Basically, this is basically our fee schedule for development fees, building fees, fire fees, utility fees. We've taken a look at cities in this area and also cities further out towards Metroplex and towards Austin and San Antonio to get an idea of what fees are charged. And this research is within your packet. This has been reviewed the last several months. The research is within the packet. Basically, it's a situation whereby these are proposed fees for the Planning and Development Department. Also, the notice under staff analysis, there was a minor change. We've added, changed the paved and gravel streets if there is a street cut for utility repair. I've highlighted that I put that in staff analysis in italicized type. And that's ordinance has also been modified to reflect that. But other than that, that's the only change in relation to the other 4 or 5 workshops that's been done in regards to this item. And that concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Harrell. This being a public hearing, I will open this up to the public at 6:53. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak on this item, either for or against? Okay. With no comments, we will close the public hearing at 6:53 and open this up to the council. Mr. Rogers, do you have any questions, thoughts?
Comment first, and that is, I like the new 2 fees that I'm glad is being added. Second question is, and of course this is after everyone's had a chance to ask questions. If a motion to approve the top one, the recommended motion, that would include those 2 fees, or does that need to be stated in the conditions?
That includes the 2 fees because the portions we're changing are already included in the language
Thank you.
and they're in the exhibit as well.
And you're talking about the street cut provisions?
Correct.
Yeah, that was actually as a result of some of the discussions we had from those meetings, because a couple of council members had asked why we don't hire contractors to make those repairs after the utility cuts instead of us doing it. And we were like, yeah, why don't we? So, that's what that provision is for, is, you know, if we have to make the cut or their contractor makes the cut or whatever, they have to pay to have a third party come in and repave the street. That way we know the repair's getting done timely and we're not having to pull our guys off of other jobs to go do that repair.
I think it's brilliant.
Mr. Messer George?
I have nothing, thank you.
Okay. Mr. McLean?
Nothing.
Mr. Baker?
Nothing.
Mr. Birch?
Good.
Okay. Once again, as Jimmy brought to our attention, there are recommended motions for approval or denial. Is there a motion for this one?
I move to enact ordinance of the City of Robinson, Texas, adding Appendix A zoning, Article 1, General Provisions, Section 1.9, fees, amending Chapter 5, Buildings and Building Regulations, Article 3, Building Permits, Section 557, fees, amending Chapter 19, Utilities, Article 2, Water Services, Section 1927, Water Service Connections, appending Appendix C, Master Fee Schedule of the Code of Ordinance of the City of Robinson, Texas, by providing for modernization of the fee schedule and fee adjustments, repealing ordinances and parts of the ordinances in direct conflict, providing an effective date, and open meetings declaration.
I'll second that motion.
Okay.
Mouthful.
Yeah. So we do have a motion for approval of that ordinance 2024-030. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. We will move on to agenda item number 11. This is consider and possible action on awarding the contract for the construction of John Bowden Parkway Phase 2. Craig, I'll let you give us a preface for this, and then we'll then hear from you, Mr. Lee.
Okay. So, we did recently go out for bid for the construction of John Bowden Parkway Phase 2. The council approved the actual design of the project back in April, and we went out for bid in early September with a bid opening deadline of September 25th. We did open bids last week for that. The project was for the construction of John Bowden Parkway. There were two options in the bid. The first was a base bid, which included an earthen channel to carry the drainage coming off of John Bowden Parkway as it approaches Gregg to Flat Creek. There was a substitute to that to remove the proposal, deduct the cost of the earthen channel and replace that with a concrete line channel, which is concrete bottom plus sides, all the way on the 1,500 foot linear foot channel. So we opened bids on the 25th, and at the time we opened the bids ranged from a high of $4,080,811 to a low of $3,527,837. So this was bid on based on a sealed competitive proposal, so there was specific guideline or specific drawing a blank here, specific criteria for review. I'll get there, and that the awards would be reviewed under in making that determination. And those categories included the overall proposal cost of the project was at 50 points. The ability to meet the proposed budget and time for construction was 20 points. Experience, past performance of the officers was 15 points. Experience, qualification, superintendent was 10 points, and other factors was 5 points. Our engineers with Walker Partners did take the bids, took them back, evaluated them, verified the numbers, and in doing that, they did find there were two of the three bids, the bid tabulations were incorrect. For the channel work, the bid document required that you subtract the earthen bid costs that were in the bid tabulation under item number 5 and replace those with the cost of the bid items under A5, which is at the bottom of the bid tabulation. Two of the bidders actually added the A5 to the 5.01 to 5.08. That's why the total bids range from 4 million to 3.5 million. Once those corrections were made, that reduced the bids from a high bid of 3,769,217 to a low bid of 3,211,169. I believe Mr. Dunlop reached out to the other two bidders to verify that they would go forward with these new amounts, or if they wanted to withdraw their bids, and both of the other bidders said they did want to go through with the lower bids. So those bids were incorporated in the bid tabulations, excuse me, were scored based on those final numbers, the lower numbers. After we did the bid tabulation and went through everything, based on all the scores, which were 3 of us scored them independently, and you have the matrix with the total here. The recommendation based on all the criteria was for Casparian Underground, doing businesses, H&B Contractors, to award the bid to them for the bid price of the 3 million, let me get back to my numbers here, 3,769,217.75. While it is the highest bid, it is almost $500,000 below the engineer's opinion of probable cost. And we feel like with this, the importance of this particular project, the time restraints and everything we are under, we feel like they are the best equipped to get this project done on time and of the quality and things we need for the amount of traffic and truck traffic that roadway is gonna handle. And I'm here to answer any questions that you may have. And Mr. Henson is here also to answer any questions. And I do believe you have one of the contractors who wish to speak.
Do you want to go over?
If you don't mind, I'd just like to add, so as part of one of the bids, as part of all the bids that we do require the contractors to provide information on the work that they're going to perform, as opposed to them hiring subcontractors to do some of the work. And so the contractor you will hear from in a little bit, they did elect to sub out the concrete work, which this is a concrete roadway, so that is a majority of the work that's going to be done. They propose to do all the dirt work, so all the channels and stuff like that, cutting all the channels, prepping all the subgrade. But as far as doing the actual concrete work, they were going to sub that work out. So we did coordinate with them. We did contact I believe they provided some references from the subcontractor that they're planning on using. We reached out to some of those references and considered that to an extent as part of our grading as well, just because it is such a big part of the project. You know, we felt like it was our responsibility to at least check those references as well for that subcontractor.
That's why we hire you. You guys are great.
Okay. I appreciate that.
Sure.
Mr. Roman, you want to come up here? If you wouldn't mind just stating your name and address for our record.
My name is Jordan Holy. Our address is not in Robinson, it's in China Spring, 330 Elko Lane. We were a proposer for this project. We did score relatively close to H&B. To sit here and tell you that we have the past experiences of H&B, I can't say that. We have not been around since the 1950s. I started my company in 2017 with 3 pieces of equipment. We have grown since then, the past 7 years, to above 60 pieces of equipment, doing multi-million-dollar projects, all in the civil field. As Jacob said, our main scopes of work are earthwork, so all of the subgrade preparation and the underground utilities. The concrete, we are self-performing the concrete to an extent. The actual placing and finishing of the concrete will be performed by a placing and finishing company that we do have experience with. They poured close to 400,000 square feet
of paving for us at the Tractor Supply Distribution Center. And that was 3 years ago now. And I actually drove over there the other day. It's all holding up, still in the condition that we left it in. And we strive. I like to think that I built my company in the past 7 years on a reputation that is heard of by other people, and that's what brings us business and keeps us going. We employ anywhere from about 25 to 30 people at any given time. And at this point, I believe the project kicks off in October, end of October maybe. We will be able to devote about 60% of our workforce and equipment to this project. I understand, just hearing y'all speak, there were some contract stipulations with Walmart, and we want to do our best to make sure that y'all don't get in trouble with them. And obviously, you know, penalties for us would be $1,000 a day liquidated damages. So we strive to provide projects on time and on budget. So that was just a little insight of who we are. So if y'all have any questions, I'll gladly answer.
Who's the concrete company you use?
It's BLW. They're based out of Fort Worth and Austin. They do, this project for them is very minuscule. They used to doing Amazon projects and projects of big pours. That's another reason we decided to hire them, so that we can make, when we pour the concrete, we can do bigger pours. And obviously that means less time. So we do bigger pours, but less pours, so we can speed up the process of actually the construction. So, and we have a good relationship with them, and they come in, they get their job done, and they do it right. So, that's,
You've got other references where you've used them?
do what?
You have other references? Excuse me,
Yes,
allergies?
the Tractor
use them.
Supply Distribution Center is the biggest one. That's the main one.
What year
So
was that built?
That
Tractor
was,
Supply?
we ended, the majority of that work was in 2021. We ended in 22. It was the truck entrance that's off of Bagby. Y'all familiar with the new Sefco that's at Bagby and Texas Central? That truck entrance that's right across the road from Sefco. That was the main project, and it was actually, the roadway is very similar to this one. It's not quite as wide, but it's about 3,000 foot long. I want to say it's 36 foot wide, and then obviously 4 acres of paving, of 9-inch concrete paving for their trailer storage yard. So that's
Is this the first time you bid a Robinson job or city job?
it's not our first time to bid a Robinson project. We actually bid a few utility projects, and H&B, I think those were just low bid, and H&B outbid us.
Okay.
Another point I do want to bring up is obviously the monetary aspect. We came in considerably lower on the base bid. It was about $230,000. I believe the only differences between the base bid and the alternate was a concrete channel that it runs parallel with Gregg Drive. And that added concrete, if you were to include the alternate, which our math, we added the alternate instead of subtracting some scopes out of it. The
Math.
price difference between us and H&B was close to $500,000. So obviously, we were able to get that low because of our pour sizes, and obviously with the workload that we have right now, we're very motivated to get this project. So that's.
You're from this area, right?
Yes, sir. I grew up in Woodway, and our office is in China Spring.
You have an Uncle Don that lives out here, right?
Yes, we have, there's a lot of holies, there's a lot of holies that are in the 06 zip code. I do want to make another statement. We are not affiliated with Holy Contractors.
Okay.
That is my brother, but there's no affiliation.
Okay.
Yeah,
If you think of it, we'll let you say.
yeah, yeah.
I'm just establishing ties. I know your grandfather many years ago, Raymond
Oh, really?
Holloway,
Yeah.
and a farmer out
We
in
have
the west.
a lot of farmland on the Brazos River bottom,
Yeah,
and
yeah, they,
still a lot of
Bud
farmland.
and Don, been out there for decades.
Yeah. We are looking at buying a piece of property to move our office from China Spring to a piece of land off of University Park, so we'll be close by.
Yeah.
But we do have, I did also want to mention, in our earlier years, we did some repair work for the sewer department, some emergency repairs, some overnight stuff, and we also were a part of helping HCS General Contractors finish the road project that I'm sure y'all are all too familiar with. We weren't on the front end of it, but we were brought in on the back end to help get that one finished, so that's who we are. I appreciate y'all letting us speak here.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, me too.
appreciate it
Yeah.
too. Mr. Master George or Jenny, do
I
you
have
have
a
any other questions for Mr. Holy?
No, no.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming
Yeah,
and
thank
Thank
you.
y'all for listening.
Yeah.
introducing yourself. Okay. All right, so with all that being said, do you have anything else to add, Mr. Lemon?
I would just say predominantly to Mr. Holy there, being one of the people who scored this, I think my concern was the mix-up in the way the bid was submitted. The bids originally come in, like I said, ranging from a little over 4 million to 3,527,000, which was Mr. Holy's bid. Because the bids weren't, they added those numbers on to the base bid. That put them, I think that puts, H&B was somewhere around, probably 250,000 more. That, you were still low bid. I think the thing that caused my concern, I'm speaking for me, not for Mr. Henson or Mr. Dunlop, is that by taking, we can't let you change the bid because by law, the bids are the bid. By saying that you're good with eliminating us subtracting the channel work and doing it, you're in essence saying that, and Holy Contractors did the same thing, only not saying, that the difference between a 1,500-foot earthen channel and a 1,500-foot concrete channel is only $40,000. And I just have concerns about your ability to get the project done within that price, because that is, the bid was bid the way it was to make that, and we did have the pre-bid meeting. I don't believe you were there, but you had a representative there.
personally.
You were,
Brandon, my
you were-
head of operations,
yeah,
was there.
yeah, and we did kind of go over that and ask if there were any questions or anything, but I would feel a whole lot better if that error had not been made. And again, if we didn't have the critical timelines and things we have here, I would feel better. But for me, that was a significant factor, because if you had come in and this was bid properly and your bid was $3,500,000, I would feel a lot better than the 3.2 million, because I have concerns about the ability to get it done for that price. And that's part of my thought process. I don't want to discourage you from submitting bids in the future, because we have quite a few other projects coming up in the next few years. It's just this particular project. I get an email once a week from Walmart and from Dennis Group saying, where are you guys on the road? Where are you guys on the sewer line? And we have got to make sure that we can get this done, and that's why we're recommending the company we did, because we feel like the totality of all this information, they are the ones that can get it done best for us. And sometimes it just comes down to an error on a bid form, unfortunately. But I would, suggest the future, if you have any questions, ask them, make sure that, you get all those numbers correct up front, because they can definitely have a significant impact on a project like this.
I would never want to put together a bid. That is too much information that has to go into this.
It was my mistake.
So easy to mess
I
up.
realized it after I had sealed it and sent it off.
Too late.
And again, if you're not 100% sure, that's part of why we have the pre-bid conference, is to make sure everybody understands, because we haven't done any real complex here. We're gonna start getting water plant stuff. We'll get even more complex in the way some of the alternates and stuff get bid. So you always wanna make sure you have a clear understanding of that when you submit it, because I've seen guys lose a bid because they just put a wrong number in somewhere, and probably had a pretty good shot at getting it otherwise, so.
I mean, would any more references help? I mean, audit agent, would that-
No, I think at this point, I'm comfortable with like I said, it wasn't a whole lot of difference between y'all, but for me, that was just, I have concerns about the ability to get that concrete channel done for that price. And we would prefer the concrete channel over the earth. Our concern was the cost of the concrete channel was gonna be too high above our budget to include it, so that's why we did it as an alternate. But ultimately, it's council's decision. That's why we didn't put a name of a company for the recommendation. But if whoever makes the motion, we'll need to recommend which company, which bid amount.
You'd have to recommend the name of the company and their bid amount?
Yes. And include, I should have put a recommended motion in there, but
Yeah, because I think the tabular, or the calculations on the tabular on page 3 of 3, I think they're off a little bit. Right?
Which ones are those?
Talking about
Which numbers are you talking about?
the bottom
The
line.
bottom line?
Yeah.
And just in my defense, I mean, all of that is itemized. Every one of those line items are itemized, so the pricing on the line item didn't change for the quantities in that.
The issue was, when you do the concrete channel, there were some items that were supposed to be backed out that didn't have to be done, and those didn't get backed out. So the unit prices are still good and valid, but the items that were supposed to have gotten backed out of the base bid did not get backed out of the base bid. So those would not be performed anyways. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Jeremy, to your point, just looking, and maybe I'm not reading it right, the base bid plus the substitute alternate A should equal bottom, right?
yeah, those three at the bottom of the bid tabulation are the bid with the alternate.
Right, that goes back to kind of what they were saying. It may be a little misleading. It's not a straight addition. So like for Casparian, their base bid of 3.46, it's not a straight addition of adding the alternate 718,000.
You're supposed to back out.
What we're doing is backing out the items under section 5. So that total was 414,000. So you would take their base bid, subtract the 414, add the 718.
Oh,
So really, you're only adding about 300,000.
Understood. So question being, for bid motion purposes, the number that needs to be read aloud is on page 3 of 3. It is the base bid plus alternate A. So if I'm under, just for example, Holy Contractors, the number we need to read into we 3,334,631, and for Caspian, 3,769,217.75.
Right.
And then the last company, 3,211,169.90. Those are the amounts that need to be read into the motion. Gotcha.
Yeah, whichever one you want to do, the name of the company and one of those three bids.
Understood. just looking at it, went, well, that didn't,
Yeah.
So I'll even play devil's advocate, even in the commentary though, for H and B, right, that shows a 3,767,000 versus in the
That's
tabular,
probably a typo.
3,769,000, so.
That's probably a typo by, because we were rushing around to get this done Friday. So the numbers in the bid tab are correct.
so don't look at the, when reading that
Yeah.
motion.
Yeah,
if that-
because if that's off, that's probably a typo. Actually, you have in the recommendation the 367.
Yeah, I would say use the bid tabulation.
Yeah, page 3 of 3.
We're killing it tonight.
Mr. Rogers, any thoughts, comments?
You know, after hearing Holly, you know, appreciate you. First off, thank you for coming here and stating your case. And I
100%.
understand to the point that the error was made and how that comes out in the wash. It's still in a positive light. So I do understand the case that you made. For me, you know, when staff scores these bids and makes a recommendation, I'm not a subject matter expert. I'm not in the weeds of trying to figure out the nuts and bolts of these contracts. So I'm going to lean on staff to, when they have those recommendations. I think it's difficult for me to reconcile going against that staff recommendation. And so, in my limited experience with sealed bids, my understanding was that errors in the bid process alone would be grounds for rejecting a bid, and removing it from, consideration. That I've seen on a couple of occasions, when bids weren't, apples to apples or stated as they were. So I think the city going back, or staff going back to say, hey, clarify these things, I think that's extending an olive branch in which they didn't have to. Eileen, appreciate you coming and thank you. I lean more towards, staff recommendation. Just my thoughts.
Mr. Master George?
No, I agree with Mr. Rogers.
Ms. McLean?
Yeah, same guys. But totally appreciate you guys coming out. I mean, it really shows what kind of company that you guys are running. So I hope that you guys don't get discouraged about anything that we vote on tonight and come out for more bids for Robinson, because I can tell that you guys are honest people and, I like your vibe.
Pass the vibe check?
That's the vibe check, yeah.
Mr. Baker?
Nothing, just reiterate what Ms. McLean said.
Mr. Burke?
Yeah, I'd like to say that I appreciate you taking the time to be here. I mean, yeah, it shows your interest, it shows your dedication
Yep.
to what you're doing. And I do know your grandfather very well. And I thought a lot of that man, and I want to encourage you to be like him. I think you are. I encourage you to be like him and continue doing what you're doing and present bids to our city. And I'll have to echo what these gentlemen have said. Our city staff recommendation, it's hard for me to buck that because I'm not doing all the work they're doing on it, or Mr. Henson for that matter, our engineers. So we pretty much have to default to them in that regard, you understand? But we'd sure like you to bid. I would personally say, I'm not out of order here.
Yeah,
I'd like to say, I'd like to see your company grow, and I'd like to see you bid with us in the future
definitely.
for things that we need done.
We got a lot of things coming.
And, we got a really good city manager here, I'll say that out loud in front of him, that
Yeah,
he'll
send it
welcome-
over and let's check it
He'll
first.
welcome working with you, and so Mr. Henson, so,
Yeah.
anyway, thank you.
Yeah,
Seriously.
yeah, thank you guys. Okay, is there a motion for this agenda item?
I mean, Jimmy got the numbers already.
Maybe. I gotta scroll. Motion to approve and award this contract to Caspian Underground DBA H&B Contractors in the amount of, and stop me if I'm wrong, $3,769,217.75 on the right line.
Yeah, that is. I second your motion.
Okay, so we do have a motion to award this contract to H&B. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Guys, thank you sincerely.
Yeah,
You don't know how hard of a case, how hard you made that decision, so
really.
just know.
Seriously.
It had an impact. It has an impact.
It's not everybody comes and pleads their case like that, and it definitely makes a difference.
Well, y'all be seeing this.
Yeah, I like
We
it.
appreciate it.
We
I
hope
like
so.
it.
Sure
Yeah.
hope so. We look forward to it.
Thank you.
You don't have to leave, you're welcome to stay to the end.
What? This isn't boring, is it?
We got other things to do, right?
Let us go home.
It's almost the end
Jim
anyway.
here.
We're almost at the end anyway.
Bye, guys.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate y'all.
Well, we might need to, we need to leave these. Keep them.
Oh, you can hang.
I mean, that's for next meeting.
Yeah,
I mean,
you
really
need to-
applies to
You
it.
have time to read them.
I did.
Should be here next week.
All right, well, let's move to item number 12. This is for any mayor or council member updates and requests for items to be placed on future agendas. So, Mr. Rogers?
I have none.
Mr. Master.
Nothing for me.
Oh, can we find something for Holly to get done for us?
If you can get rid of this fly.
Dude, the fly is.
It's been up and down this
It really
bench.
Thank you, sir.
It has. It's bad.
Mr. Birch?
Nothing.
Okay. All right, with that being said, we will move to adjourn at 7:25. Thank you all.